really pull off the YouTube piece, like to do it the way it needs to be done, with multiple videos, with long form shorts, doing all that proper editing. I mean, you're a couple of grand a month in. Yeah.
So and that's the hard part is like what I've experienced is just keeping up with whatever the platform is, what the hell they want today that isn't the same as yesterday. That's why somebody like Bob's coming, like I can't, I cannot handle, I don't have the bandwidth for that. I would never do it.
Compass, they're very analytical. And okay, this is the platform, like they have all this back office stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, well, YouTube isn't really where it's at for real estate in Dallas. So you really need to stay on Instagram platform right now. That's what they're telling us.
It's going to be unique to the type of audience that you want to go grab and what kind of post you're making.
Right.
I would disagree, but that doesn't make them wrong or me right. It's really about what kind of content do you feel your audience is wanting. Right. If you want to show walkthroughs, pros and cons, top 5 this and that is a perfect platform. YouTube is for stuff like that because it's powered by the #1 search engine in the world, right? And Google, who owns it. And when people say, I would like to live in Dallas, or like to live in Frisco, like to live in Prosper. Right. It's all optimization, right? And that's all the videos that's going to pull up, versus seeing the micro, which is fine. I mean, you can post really good micro stuff on Instagram that gets people's attention, but it doesn't give them, I don't feel like everything they want, right? If you take a good YouTube video, if it's well done, and you can show them. You don't actually, you could do a video where you're in the house and doing walkthroughs. Right. People love that, but you can also do it from your home and do a walkthrough through the video itself on the home, right? Just on kind of like we call it like a podcast type deal, virtual, and you're screen sharing the thing and you're talking about it. People still can connect to that. You could do a map view of the area. So if you just pick whatever, North Dallas, and you have, the areas, you can circle it on the map and do this, and here's the stars, circle it. People actually really respond to that because now they're putting the visualization behind it, and they're like, okay, this is cool. Let's go check this out. I'd like to get in touch with somebody, right? Yeah. That's what we see, the successful ones that are doing the YouTube, that's what they're doing. But,
It's time to up the game here.
It is 2023.
It's obvious.
I mean, it's time to.
I'm sitting here with lights on me right now. Oh my God.
Oh.
It's okay.
No, this is like a huge step. So.
Yeah, but I mean, like 2023, it is like now, and all we're hearing about our marketplace is our industry basically is how difficult it is and how difficult it's going to be. You have to do things differently, right? I mean, you can't always and only rely on the tried and true methods.
Right. No, absolutely.
So video could be one of those.
Well, it's time to do it. So.
If Tom can do it.
Oh my gosh, Tom's doing great.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
I know, I need to look at his channel.
Start posting stuff. Tommy is the one you want to go. Tommy
no, I know.
Is the one you want to go look at. He puts the woot woot in real estate.
The woot woot in real estate.
Yeah, I'm friends with him.
Man, every time, because every time he gets a buyer to me and I get on the phone with that client, I'm like, so you got to tell me, how'd you like the woot woot in real estate? And they laugh.
Love
and
it.
I mean, it's like a culture
Yeah.
that he's creating where
Yeah.
people are like, oh my God, I love that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, I'm so proud of him.
Yeah. I
I
can't
knew
figure
him
out how
from
to
a long,
create
long time
something
ago.
about Bob Mortgage for that.
Build the Bob.
I don't know that you can replicate that.
Yeah,
I think
can't.
it's a Tommy thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could, put the woot woot mortgage. He probably wouldn't like that. Okay. Yeah.
I think you just stick with Bob Mortgage.
Just simple and easy.
Simple and easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. No, so 2023, what's the word of the year? What are you doing?
What did you pick for your word of the year?
Yeah.
I'm still going back and forth, honestly.
Okay.
I
Okay.
definitely like Liz's ideas. that she was saying. So
Challenge solution. Was that her?
Solutions.
Yeah.
Solutions.
Solutions, because I definitely think it's going to be a year of solutions.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be still a lot of challenges, and in the first 10 days, I've already had like 3.
Yeah.
But we get in there and we are getting the solution.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, the thing I think we talked about it. It was like the more, because that sets us apart and adds more value, right, to our client, that we're able to solve things, right? If we can't solve somebody's challenge, then why do they need us?
Right.
So I like solutions as a word for the year.
Present in the solution, you know, like to really, 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 like don't, oh, well, this might be an idea, but no,
Right.
this is really, really the solution, and trust me, and I will get you there. So
I think that's probably the most important part of what you just said is trust me and I will get you there. Because that's what you have to have your clients put faith in you, right? And this is the biggest financial transaction of their life. And so saying things like that are going to help gain that trust from your clients that you need so that you can get them to the closing table, right?
And that's how my business has been the whole 18 years is, you know, trust. I mean, they call me back, they send their friends to me, they know that what kind of value they're going to get from me. And then I'm trying to instill that in my team members. You know, this is how I was taught so long ago. It's working, so let's just keep it going. And so like the Beth Douglas group is very much that, you know, we're a family. We are here alongside you, and, you know, we're going to make the biggest transaction of your life, you know, be memorable and not a horrible like yesterday was for my
I think that's
clients.
your word, trust.
Trust.
I think that's your word.
You think?
I
Or
do.
or solution?
Well, I like solution
Trust
too,
in
but
maybe it's a phrase for me instead of a word.
Okay.
You know, trust in my solution or for you. And I don't know. I still got to play around with it. It's still early.
Yeah. No, I mean,
January.
but it's important. I like it. I mean, because like mine's always been, like I said, in our mastermind, it was always been pivot, because I have to be always knowing that no matter how much organizational control I have over my day, I'm still going to have to change. I'm going to have to pivot at some point because something's going to come up. There's going to be a challenge that I got to go find the solution for. And so while I may control of it, I don't really, you know, have 100% control. So pivot's really just been a big one, and it's served me well over the 26 years I've been in the business because I've seen some cycles.
right.
Right? And otherwise I would have gotten out of the business because I would have believed the mainstream media that, you know, rates are going to be out of this roof and nobody's going to be buying homes and you should go find another career. And I'm just like, you know, BS to that.
Well, and that's the one thing too. I mean, literally, I was taught, you know, focus ahead, don't listen
Blinders
to
on.
blinders on.
Yeah.
Go for it and don't listen to the chatter.
I mean, in preparation for things like this, my podcast, meetings, this kind of stuff, you know, and I told you this on our phone conversation, I do a lot of research.
Yep.
You know, paying attention to real estate news, stuff on NAR, TAR, Inman, all of those things. And I mean, I said in the meeting, I finally had to quit looking at all of it because you would start to believe, and it's in your
Doom
mind
and
that it's
gloom.
going to be this terrible year. But you are in charge of your destiny, right? What's happening in the national news or in local real estate news doesn't necessarily have to be your path, right? I still have to believe that I'm in charge of my destiny to some extent, and the effort has to be there, the work has to be there. But I feel like we've been through all of these kind of cycles before. We're not in a position where we have to let that stuff scare us anymore.
And if you could have survived these last 2 years, you know, and keep going, it's pretty impressive.
I mean, the greatest transfer of wealth happens in times like this, right?
Right.
And why? Well, the wealthy, depending on how you would define that, they probably are pretty studious of the market.
Right.
They understand, okay, the past and how it can predict the future, but it doesn't necessarily mean it predicts their future. You know, they can look at it and say, okay, if interest rates are going to be up and there's going to be a mass exit in real estate, and you know you're going to have less people that are going for the. They're looking at the opportunities, right? So fear is other people's opportunities, and those opportunities are what transfers wealth, right? And so for me, that's been, I guess, the mindset that I would take into a year like 2023. And that doesn't necessarily have to even stay in the real estate. It could be in any other industry, right? Because you hear about all the layoffs that companies are putting out there.
Right.
Well, okay. I mean, how does that impact, if you're an employee of a company, how does that impact your outlook on your stability in your future, right? Does that change anything? Do you look at things a little bit differently, and can you do things and then execute on those ideas that you may have had? I don't know. It's exciting.
It is. It's going to be a good year.
Well, and that's why, I mean, I'm still a realtor, is because I love how every day is different. You have no idea when you wake up. You have a little bit of your plan, but you know, it changes. And I like the challenge.
Yeah.
And this is going to be a challenging year, I think, for sure.
Yep. But good, because problems are things we can't solve. Challenges are things we can solve.
Right.
You know, I mean, and that's kind of the way I've separated. Is this a problem or a challenge?
Right.
Right. Because a problem, I love a good challenge.
I love a good challenge.
The feel, felt, found thing.
Yeah. I knew what you were talking about. I knew exactly what you were talking about.
You always bring feel, felt, found, you know?
Yeah.
I certainly understand how you feel. Many of my clients have felt the same way. But what they found when they met with me is I could show them a path to get interest rates today that were 2 years ago. So if I could show you that same 3.75% interest rate today, would that make you interested in buying a house right now?
And there you go.
And
that's how you have it.
Done.
And they'd be like, yeah, I want that because they always say that's why we're waiting, right? Or was it really you were waiting because you didn't have the extra $50,000 or $100,000 to put over the asking price to buy? Oh yeah, I needed to wait on that too. Okay, so now you don't have to do that, and you can get that rate through a 2-1 buy down. Where's the excuses? Like, what's holding you back? And so, and that's a lot of our conversations. A lot of our conversations.
I don't have a catchy title like Bob does. It's sales overcoming sales objections, you know, and that's part of being a skilled salesperson is being able to identify, what the problem is and overcoming that objection and finding a solution for it. So.
Yeah, and people like, oh, sales. Well, we all are sales.
We're salespeople.
We're either selling your husband and your wife, who's cooking, who's cleaning, other things, right? Or you're selling a client on whether they should or buy a house or should sell a house. But the great salespeople, I think, are really the ones that can ask the right questions,
Right.
listen,
Yes.
and then you're uncovering or identifying the challenge.
Yep.
And then you're providing that solution that gets them ultimately in a buying position. That's where you've I think changed the game as a salesperson because people have bought from you. They haven't felt like you've sold them something.
Right. There's a reason we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. I always remember that.
It's taken me time, Thankfully, I've learned it over 26 years, but. Yeah.
I mean, you have got to be a good listener.
Amen.
Yeah.
I mean, for building a team, for socializing, for any of our jobs that we do. And I think that's what kind of separates a lot of us from one another is our listening skills.
Listening skills.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So as there's opportunity, right? So then you look at building teams, growing your business. I mean, what are some of the challenges that one might run into if they're trying to grow in a market that is supposed to be way down? And then how do you solve those challenges?
Well, I think you've just got to get in the thick of it. And you don't know what your day is going to bring. So you jump in, you have to be ready to jump in.
Yeah.
And you got to be ready to stay in. And, for some people, it takes 2 years to get their real estate career going. I got super lucky when mine started. I got so lucky.
Yeah.
But I also kind of growing up, these people wanted to work with me. So you build your, I don't know what the right word is, but you build the want for them to want to work with you.
Right.
But you just have to be patient. I mean, you have to get in the trenches and work and work and work and learn and listen. and then go for it.
Well,
and if you need a mentor, then you get on a team.
Sure.
Or if you want to try to do it by yourself, which I don't recommend,
Yeah.
Do that.
Well, you're a Sphere realtor. You've always built your business
Yeah.
on referrals,
Yeah.
right? And on your database of clients that you know. You don't buy internet leads. You don't
No.
do any of that kind of stuff.
No.
And so I think, some of the things that we talked about in our meeting this morning, the client, showing your clients appreciation, how are you going to do that, and how are you going to ask for referrals? Those sorts of things are going to play a big part this year, I think. Because a lot of the realtors in the room of this meeting are Sphere and referral-based realtors.
Yeah, exactly.
And so the big teams, a lot of them buy leads, right? So that's how they provide food for their team members, right? But teaching, and Chris Jones is a prime example of this, of teaching. He was a mentor at Ebby, right? And teaching them how to fish, right? How to go out and get their own, and make their own deals happen.
Yeah.
That's what you do with your team as
Yeah.
well, is teach them how to build a business on their
yeah.
Sphere.
Yeah, we were talking exactly about that while we had a big bunch of conversation going on down here, and he has his team that he's growing, and he has some new agents, and I was asking him about, okay, so are you the one that's responsible for getting them the business so they learn the business? And then he goes, no. He goes, they need to learn how to fish.
Yeah.
Right. And he goes, and it is. I mean, once you teach them to fish, they can eat for a lifetime.
Right.
It's just some people, he goes, what the struggle is finding the right people that will cast enough hooks.
Exactly.
Or, throw enough, I don't fish, but throw enough hooks out there, I guess. And,
Well, I just feel like it starts with one. It's just that first one. Once you get that first one, you can turn it into a huge business.
Yeah.
But you've got to get the trust of that first transaction, right?
And what I kind of teach my team is, don't just focus on one avenue. You need to have, and I call them tentacles, like an octopus.
Hubs and
You need
spokes
to
and
have
tentacles, yeah.
You need to have all these tentacles out there, because out of those 10 or however many, 2 might hit, 1 might hit, 10 might hit. But have enough things out there going that you can be positive and grab it and move on and not get down.
Yeah, the challenge with some though is they get too many and they become a jack of all trades, master of none, so they don't see any success
You have
from
to
that.
know your limit.
Yeah. So 3 to 5 maybe,
Yeah.
most is that you're really going to focus on, because those 3 to 5, you typically can find a way to hit that goal at the end of the year. Because we talk about that a lot, is like, okay, if you set, most people in sales will set a goal, okay, I want to make $100,000. Okay, well, if you have one way to reach that $100,000 and you don't hit it,
Right.
you're done, right?
Right.
And you're going to be discouraged. So if, let's say you set up 3 different ways and each way was set to achieve 100,000. So now you actually have 3 ways to achieve 300,000.
Right.
If 2 only hit, you're at 200,000.
Yeah.
You're super happy. So that's kind of how I have to also manage myself, because I will get really spread. I like to have a lot. And I got to start, I try to narrow.
I'm the total opposite, because I can have a lot and it still works. So I need to start thinking that way too, that, not everybody is,
the same.
does it my way.
Does it your way. And they don't take ownership of it the way that you would. Right? So it's finding the things that they take ownership in and let them run with that. Because it may not be their strengths, it may not be what their highest and best use. So they're going to be the right person just in the wrong seat. I've learned that over my career as well. I've had the perfect person and I just put them in the wrong seat.
Right.
And they didn't thrive.
Right.
And so when I figured out how to listen and ask questions the right way, then I identified, okay, they need to be actually doing this. And then they completely flipped to a different type of employee, and they were amazing, right?
Like we were talking about accountability earlier, and I think accountability is huge. And that one of my team members, she was like, okay, I need accountability. And, every Monday at 10 o'clock, we meet face to face. And it could be just like my son got into college, it's just whatever needs to have business, because when they join me, it's the family, her kids, this is a family that we have here.
Yeah.
And, and then we talk business or whatever, but but that's what she wanted. Her number one thing for her business plan for like, what can I give you? What do you want from me?
Mm-hmm.
And I listened to her.
Yeah.
And about last June we started doing it, and every Monday. So
has it changed her business since you have started doing that?
I think it has definitely helped a lot, and it's helped me be accountable as the leader.
Mm-hmm.
Which I want to be the best I can be for her and my team, because that's what fills my cup,
right?
Is seeing them thrive.
Yep.
On top of me having to do my stuff, but I share with them my struggles, and like I'm not this person that gets it right every time.
100%.
And it's been a great little Monday at 10 a.m. meeting that we have, but accountability is pretty huge.
And I find that's a big deal too. I mean, I have an assistant and we have a weekly call Mondays at 1, I think, because I really want to be in the thick of my projects by the time I talk to her on Mondays, and then a little short wrap up call on Fridays, like where are you at with projects and stuff. And it's just a good way to keep things on track. Otherwise I feel like projects fall to the wayside or something doesn't get done or something, you know what I mean? It's just, yes, it's about accountability and making sure that you're moving down the road with your partners, whoever those are.